The Saudi Arabian regime has just concluded a meeting with Xi Jinping. New trade deals have been signed. Prince Mohammed bin Salman even hailed the summit as a new phase in relations between the two nations. A question the world was asking was whether this summit meant a move away from the United States for the Gulf nations. Now that still remains to be seen, but one thing hasn't changed: tensions with Iran. On Sunday, the Saudi Foreign Minister, Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, said, and I quote, "If Iran gets an operational nuclear weapon, all bets are off." All bets are off. What does that mean? Well, Iran is seen as a destabilizing actor in the region by Gulf states. So much so that many in the Arab world are willing to normalize ties with Israel, so just so that they can focus on containing Iran. Wars have been raging on between the regional blocs since the 1979 Iran revolution. They're almost a regular occurrence, but the entire scenario would change if Iran got nukes. Remember, reports say that Iran continues to enrich nuclear material. Let's look at the situation between Saudi Arabia and Iran now. Both nations were US allies till the late 70s. Then the Iranian Revolution happened. Iran has been a theocratic state ever since, a Shiite theocratic state, might I add. And it has been challenging the hegemony of Sunni Saudi Arabia ever since. The Gulf nations have historically had oil for security arrangements with the United States. The US has troops and a naval fleet posted in the region, and Saudi Arabia spends billions each year on American weapons. On Monday, Saudi officials spoke about the kingdom's defense spending. Between 2021 and 2022, the nation has spent $1.4 billion to boost its local military industry. It is estimated to have spent more than $65 billion on defense this year, the majority of which went into arms imports. Next year, the figure is expected to cross $68 billion. So what are these arms used for? They're used to secure its oil facilities and fight proxy wars with Iran. Yemen is one example. Iran-backed Houthi rebels have been waging a brutal civil war with Saudi-backed government. The Houthis have targeted Saudi Arabia's oil production and shipping facilities on multiple occasions. In this situation, if Iran gets nuclear weapons, it would alter the balance of power in West Asia. After all, countries are not really allowed to build up their nuclear weapon capabilities. So no one wants a world where everyone can push an Armageddon button. In West Asia, the only nation with nukes may be Israel. Israel has never officially claimed to have nukes, but it hasn't denied the same either. But other than Israel, no nation in the region can deter a nuclear strike, at least not without the backing of an existing nuclear power, which is where the United States comes in. The US has been in the Gulf nations' corner since the Iran Revolution. The summit with China may be good for trade, but security is another ballgame altogether. Remember, Beijing maintains good ties with Tehran, and despite the current dip in ties between Riyadh and Washington, the US is a reliable bulwark against Iran, a shield that the Gulf nations may not be able to replace. Which brings us back to the Saudi foreign minister. After the warning about Iran, he says, and I quote, "We are in a very dangerous space in the region. You can expect that regional states will certainly look towards how they can ensure their own security." In Gulf security affairs, the US has a head start on China. Even if the Saudi minister says all bets are off, when it comes to Iran, perhaps it's a safe bet that the Gulf will indeed turn to the US. Now, for more on this, we have with us Ahmed Ali Ibrahim from Riyadh. He's a political analyst and US-Saudi relations expert. Ahmed, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you for having me.
Right, some strong words coming from the Saudi foreign minister. If Iran gets an operational nuclear weapon, all bets are off. Is this a clear ultimatum or a warning?
That's a clear warning. Listen, we suffered greatly from Iran. They've been positioning themselves as the prime terrorist country in the world by affecting 22 countries around the world by their terrorism web. They destabilized the whole GCC countries. They are in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, Djibouti, and the list go on. Saudi Arabia in the past year, they tried to basically extend their hand to the Iranians, and there were talks. And these talks actually started to the end, not started to actually fix the ultimatum, progress of having peace in the region, and a region that is complied with the UN regulation of a peaceful region with no weapon of mass destruction. However, the Iranian, their heart, their beliefs are in a different state. They operate like a militia. They export their revolution to other countries. They cannot stay in stabilized society. Look what's happening to the Iranian people and the suffrage that they're getting, and they're getting killed by that. So when our foreign minister actually comes and say, if Iran is going to pursue that, and the GCPOA since 2015 have never reached a solution, have never actually involved the GCC countries in anything that actually they are dealing with Iran, then you know what? All bets off the table. We need to look after our security. We need to look out of the region security, the other GCC country. Every country that Iran stepped a foot in is a disaster. Look at Iraq, look at Syria, look at Lebanon, look at Yemen.
Right, but Ahmed, if I may come in there, if you're saying that this is a clear warning to Iran, how do we expect Iran to respond to this?
Well, we do understand Iran has been targeted Saudi Arabia and the oil refinery a couple of times. And Saudi Arabia actually has positioned themselves in order to, have the right to retaliate, but after consulting the United Nations and other countries. In Saudi Arabia, we are a progress country. We have Vision 2030. We have a lot to lose. If we go into a war, nobody is going to benefit from that. However, this militia that is in control of Iran and the mullahs, they have nothing to lose. When is the last time you've heard that they had a vision? When the last time they have a path to progress their people like we're doing in the GCC countries. So this is a very, thing that the leaders of our countries, they have in mind.
Right.
And if they're going to position themselves into any kind of position of war, the GCC countries, they have a scenarios. We do have our friends and allies, the United States, in the region. We have the Fifth Fleet in Bahrain. We have the American Air Base in Qatar, and we have warriors in the Arabian Sea and in the Mediterranean Sea. So it's not into the interest of the global sector to be disrupted in this country, especially the GCC countries and the Arab world.
Ahmed, I'm afraid we're running out of time. Right. We're just running out of time, but thank you so much for all your insights, and thanks for joining us on the broadcast at this hour.
Pleasure.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.